Hearty welcome to Professor Satinder Dhiman from the Woodbury University, Burbank, California. Hearty welcome to you to India.
Thank you, sir.
He is the president of Indian Chamber of Service Industry, ICSI. He is at present visiting India. He is a legend in his own way. He got educated in India and thereafter he taught in India and authored a couple of books over here on management, accountancy and related subjects. Having gone to United States, once again he became a student and thereafter he became educator, trainer and scholar. He authored a number of books and at the same time he also added new dimensions to the leadership and management related curriculums in United States. Professor Saab, hearty welcome to you over here when you're visiting this winter.
Thank you, sir.
And we want to take a benefit of your visit to India and we wish to share because I would like to share with our audience. He is a master trainer as far as Indian epics are concerned, Indian stories are concerned, Indian mythology is concerned, and besides Hindi, English, Punjabi, he knows Persian, and of course he can give you Sanskrit quotes also from various epics of India. So Professor, let's focus on when we are talking about empowering education and transforming India. Do you agree that this title goes very well with the Indian education system?
Yes.
If we empower our education system, we'll be able to transform India?
Yes, I think the only way we can really create a what is called Rupantran, transformation, can only happen through education. And you very rightly said that India is such a rich heritage. Probably it will not be wrong to say that India is the largest, oldest continuing civilization in the world.
Let's clap for it.
India is not a country. India is a civilization. Very few countries can boast, brag about that part which we have. Now, this thing has its pluses and minuses. I will focus on pluses only because minuses are already evident to everybody. I believe that Indian roots are very rich. Our heritage is very rich. Our epics, our spiritual heritage is second to none. The whole world looks towards India. I can also, with certain conviction say that India is the conscious of the world. Sari dunya ki conscious hai hum, zameen. Because anybody who is interested in spirituality, India is taken as a benchmark. Anybody who talks about yoga, India is taken as a benchmark. So we have much to offer. At the same time, we have much to learn. It's a give and take process. But before we get into that give and take, Sharmaji, we have to focus on what is called our roots. Education is about two things only, roots and wings. Before you take off with wings, your roots have to be very strong. And I think that this is one of the, if I may, offer a little bit critique of Indian education system, we have moved away from our roots, as many people have commented. We have sort of tried to borrow Western models without really consolidating them with our own Indian homegrown culture. I am a big believer that if India wants to achieve a quantum leap, what is called quantum leap, what is called in Italian terra incognita, into the unknown territory, into the uncharted seas, we have to start with our own culture. We have so much to offer. We are not talking about just education, we are talking about everything, Vyakaran, we are talking about the invention of zero, we are talking about Aryabhat, we are talking about all those great people, we are talking about language which has 52 alphabets in Sanskrit, which is probably the mother of many languages, Indo-European languages.
As compared to 26 alphabets in
English
language.
So what this does is, a German scholar says that when you have a lot of alphabets in your language, you are able to express human emotions. Sanskrit language is ideally suited for philosophical expression of thoughts. It is ideally suited for even computer programming. NASA, I was reading a particular commentary on how NASA is utilizing different languages. So I learned something about Sanskrit, very unique, that Sanskrit has the ideal character for digitization, for the information technology. So it is just one language, just Sanskrit. But
Go over again this particular part.
Sure.
Go over this again.
Sure.
Because let's elaborate for our audience.
Sure, I appreciate you
Yeah.
you're asking me that. Sanskrit language, the phonetics are so perfect, and the word is the thing. It's not that the word, you understand the meaning. When you say Gyan, it has a different tasur, it has a different impression, ambience. But when you say knowledge, it has a different tasur. Another example, when you have to ask for forgiveness, in English you say sorry. In Sanskrit, kshama. It comes from the bottom of your solar plexus, your chest. When you say kshama. Sorry, you can say with lips. But kshama has to come from deep down yourself.
Wow.
This is the beauty of language, that our language is so powerful and it makes an impact. The flow, the syntax. I also got the opportunity to translate certain books, certain sayings of saints from Hindi and some Sanskrit into English. So I can vouchsafe the beauty, the music in the Sanskrit language. Now this is just a part of that. Indian epics, take the example of Mahabharata, and Bhagavad Gita it forms a part of Mahabharata. Many Western scholars have said, there was a great scholar from England, A.R.O.H. He said that there is no other book like Mahabharata when it comes to objective scholarship. You see, other books are derivative. They take secondary information, but you will find primary information in Mahabharata. There is no character of human personality. There is no type of human personality which is not there in Mahabharata.
So you feel that in our education, day-to-day learning and teaching system, we should use more of these epics related examples and illustrations and stories?
Exactly, you said it. This is the way we should be doing, because in Indian culture, this storytelling process comes natural. You know, even when we are in cradle, our grandmothers, tell stories. And research shows that stories capture human brain like nothing else. I personally have done some research on stories. I have sort of looked at what is special about stories. I found that stories have a quality that when somebody says, let me tell you a story, your mind relaxes. And it goes into a different learning mode. And I call it intuitive learning mode. Your intuition power comes into play. Moreover, when you listen to a story, at the end of the story, the whole message comes to you in one form. It is not a stepwise process. When the story ends, you see the entire message right in front of you. That beauty of learning, it is not stepwise approach, you A, B, T, and Z. It is the moment the story ends, the whole message comes to you, and the moral of the story becomes very clear. The other beauty of the story is, a story has an unexpected element at the end. You are not expecting that outcome. For example, a person walks into a king's court and he sits on the high throne and he's asked, who are you? And are you a king from neighboring country? He said, no, I'm not. Higher than that. And then he says, somebody asked him in the court, are you a prophet? He said, no, higher than that. Are you God? He said, no, higher than that. And then the question was, or somebody said, well, there is nothing higher than God. And he says, I am nothing. You see the point? Here, there is a climax. You were wondering that what can be higher than God? He says, I am higher than God. And then somebody said, nothing is higher than God. He says, I am nothing. So you have to become nothing. Meaning, you have to realize, once you realize your nothingness, you become everything. Meaning, you become one with. So the point of the story is, the listener does not expect the outcome. And because the outcome is totally different, it teases more attention span from you. It's like somebody's pulling rug from your feet and you are available and the message is right there and you can never forget. The other beauty, last part of the story is, you may forget story. 20 years later, some other experience brings to a point where the information in the story is useful. All of a sudden in your mind, it will resurface and you will
remember that story.
You will not be able to do that with normal information. When people learn through PowerPoints, they can forget in 2-3 years. But stories will stay you for the rest of your life. It has a memory value, which no other way, retention value, which no other form of education. So through epics, we can bring that. The other point quickly I want to add as a rejoinder to that is that we do not have to go outside to experts to learn. We have our own homespun models like Swami Vivekananda, like Mahatma Gandhi, like Shri Aurobindo. We have our own galaxy. If you want to study strategy, you don't have to go outside India. We have Chanakya, Kautilya. We have Vidur. We can, from Mahabharata again, Vidur Niti, it's called Vidur Niti. The only problem is that we have not given it as importance as we are given to outside experts. So I am requesting, this is a call to all India, that let's look at our own heritage, let's take the best of our own models and let's blend them with the best of the Western models and present a samanvay, a kind of symbiosis, a kind of blend, a harmony to the world. Only then we can create an audience which is international level, which is global level, and the rest of it.
Wonderful message which you have given. I would say in the next episode, certainly I will be asking you related to some of the great people you would like to refer to. Those are from India, and at the same time some epics also. But in this episode, let's have a question from the audience.
So my name is Aditya, and I would like to state that things are moving in a beautiful direction, and by each passing second you are actually beautifying the entire environment. Now my question is, what is the thin red line difference between a teacher, an educator and a trainer? Because I'm a bit confused about it. So can you please enhance something onto it?
There are three words which are very closely related. One is educator, then there is teacher, and then trainer. First of all, understand, we should not be, precisely speaking, using the word training within education context. Generally, you train pets, but you educate human beings. So if I have my say, I will take the word training out of the education nomenclature. This doesn't belong to education lingua franca, does not. So training is something, or you can say, you are training somebody to operate a copying machine, and after training the person is able to. It is not education. Training is for hands, education is for mind. Now, coming to the two words which are very closely related, one is educator, the other one is teacher. The word educator is more comprehensive term. For example, you can be a teacher, but you may not have any say in the curriculum. I mean, you didn't develop the curriculum, you didn't assess the learning. So to be an educator, you have to be on the both sides. So an educator is a more comprehensive professional which understands the academic process from the very beginning to the end, from the beginning to the get-go. Whereas the word teacher could be focused on the teaching process only, the exchange of information between students and the teacher itself. Now, even these days, we don't use the word teacher, we say facilitator, because a teacher is only a facilitator. It's like a catalyst, you know, as in chemistry, there's a word called catalytic agent. The beauty is that it expedites the process of chemical action without undergoing any change itself. So a teacher is just like a person who helps the delivery. It's like, you know, imagine the birth of a child, right? Like a doctor, a lady doctor, is facilitating the birth of the child. So a teacher's role, according to Socrates, the great Western thinker, is like that of a midwife, like a person who helps the delivery of the ideas to come into being. So I would, to sum it up, I would say that the word educator is more broader. The word teacher is more focused on the teaching aspect of the total education process.
It could be taken as initiator, we can say, who gives ignition kind of thing, so that it can become a fire.
Right, you can say that. The word educator, the word education has to do with, we say educating others, but it is not even that. That's why even these days we don't use the word student, we say learner. We don't say educator, educator is fine. We don't say teacher. We can use the word faculty, instructor, so on and so forth. But educator means a more broader perspective on the entire education process, from the making of the curriculum, from giving of the education, and in the end, assessing it. In America, for example, it's very big, this particular point is very important. that we in India do not assess our education. For example, if I'm lecturing, yesterday I requested you if you can give me the feedback. That loop is missing in Indian education. Here, it's a one-way delivery. You know, the teacher is delivering the education.
More mechanical.
We do not know how, right? See, teaching is like putting letters in the mailbox. We don't, you know, these days everything is email. But remember those days when you used to write a letter, put it in the mailbox, right? You know in what quality the letter was mailed. You never know when it will be delivered. You also don't know if it will be delivered at all.
Yes.
On the other side. And you do not know in what quality it will be delivered. So it's same thing with teaching. You know, you are sort of giving information, but you do not know how that information will be taken by the audience. That's why it is very important to know the psychology, human psychology. As a teacher, you should know the human psychology so that you can include multiple learning perspectives in what you teach. So if I have a choice, I would like to choose the word educator over teacher because it's more broad and comprehensive.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing your viewpoint and your thoughts with regard to Indian education system and how we should make good use of epics, storyboards, and some mythology and other related. In the next episode, we will take on with you where you got to highlight some of the prominent Indian authors or Indian maybe saints or quotes, whatsoever we have to take, or the epics which we have to take, we should refer to, so that we make our education system once again to the glory which it used to be. With these words, thank you very much, Professor Dhiman, for joining us over here.
Thank you.